Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, beautiful soul family, and welcome to Weekly Wisdom and Insights. I am your host, Dearjames, and together with the unseen, Spirit, Source, and Symphony, we go as guided, we look at the current energies, and we find our truth, our empowerment, and our embodiment, really. So there's a lot of beautiful energy. It's really quite an amazing time, and we've talked about this in the previous shows from August 1st, with the first supermoon, to August 30th, a blue moon, the second full supermoon in the same month. And today, smack dab in the middle, is the Leo new moon. And we are, of course, in Leo season. And as far back as ancient Egypt and the Sphinxes and so forth, this alignment, this Leo Aquarius access, this alignment, and this embodiment and this empowerment of Leo season and how it plays a role, the planet Sirius and so forth. So not to get lost in the weeds. However, this is about spiritually guided transformation and empowerment, going as guided and connecting to your soul source connection. And so today is about breakthrough. And there's a beauty about this because a lot of different astrologers and so forth are talking about this time frame about as breakthrough, breakdown. And I, for one, am just eliminating the breakdown option. It's not an option. It's off the table. And that is so that it's about breakthroughs because everything is about a choice. And the beauty along with this, and it's our main theme, and it's so beautiful. And the main theme, here it is, breakthrough. Here comes the sun. And then in brackets and parentheses, S-O-N. So here comes the sun, S-U-N. And yet here comes the sun, S-O-N. And in the bottom right, you see the bee. And the bee that pollinates, and most of our food supply comes from the work of bees and how vital they are to our source of nutrition and food on planet Earth. So I loved this image, and it fits because it's inspiring. It radiates, for me, it radiates inspiration, opportunity, gifts, abundance, plenty. So, and welcome, Lorna, as you're joining from around the globe. Please place in the comments a hello and where you might be joining from. And then remember, throughout the broadcast, we take your comments and questions live. We incorporate them into the overall energies and everything because you all play a vital role. That is why we do this. We come together around the globe. So we have some very powerful energies. I use that word powerful because I look for another word, but the point is that they're empowering, they're powerful. And with this, I want to jump in first to the astrological influences, and you're going to see how those are playing out. We're going to look at three different things: the astrological influences, then an astrology chart, and then also a piece from Pam Youngin's North Point Journal. And that'll set the tone for the energies today. So let's first of all look at the astrological energies, astrological influences. So as I just said at the top of the hour, on 8/1, super sturgeon full moon occurred in Aquarius at 9 degrees. On 8/8 was the pinnacle point, the high point of the Lion's Gate. And the Lion's Gate runs from July 26th to August 12th. 8/8 is the pinnacle moment. And it's considered by many as the astrological new year, this resetting. Today, this morning at 2:37 a.m., I believe, Pacific time, was the Leo new moon at 23 degrees. This Leo new moon, so the sun and the moon are next to each other, conjunct next to each other at the same degree and arc, and then they are square, so they're creating a frictional aspect. A square, Uranus at 23 degrees Taurus, and Uranus, expect the unexpected. Simultaneously, at the same time, today, on the 16th of August, Mars at 22 degrees Virgo, another Earth sign, is trine Uranus at 23 degrees. The trine is a harmonious aspect. So we have a square, the sun and the moon are square Uranus, friction, and then we have Mars trine Uranus, meaning kind influence, a beneficial influence, and both are beneficial. It's just one comes in the aspect of challenge, the other one comes in the aspect of harmony. And then last but not least, at the end of the month, on August 30th, the super blue moon. It's a blue moon because it's the second blue moon in the same month. That is a rare aspect, a rare occurrence, and it happens in Pisces at 7 degrees. So we have these aspects in this window of time that they've been talking to us about all month long in August. 8/1, 8/30, we're at the middle point, August 16th, right now today. And with that, I'm going to bring up, let me just get to it. One quick second, I got to change my window here. And this is from astrologyking.com, and I'm going to share my screen with you all. You will see then, so you see the astrological chart for today's new moon, the Leo new moon. And again, this is by astrologyking.com. And the dashed red lines at the bottom of the inner circle, and that is running from Uranus over to the new moon and sun, the sun and the moon conjunct, the new moon. That is the square aspect. And notice that it's a dotted red line, which means that it can be penetrated. It means this friction, not only that it can be, but it's meant to be. It's meant to be pierced. It's meant to be transcended. So any friction, see, break through it. Here comes the sun. And then the blue line, the solid blue line, is running between Mars and Uranus. And so you can see, and it has a higher elevation, a higher note. The color is auspicious. It feels good. And so it is to remember that we have a choice. And the choice is break through or break down. And as I said at the top of the hour, I'm just eliminating the breakdown. It's not, for me personally, it's not an option. It's not an option to quote unquote break down. My choice is to break through. And so whatever it may be, whatever comes in your personal lives, and as we see things on the world stage and everything, it's going to play along with the beauty of our mantra, which is, I choose to advance. Breakthrough. I choose to advance. That is the choice before us. That is how this all plays out. And let me move now to the North Point Journal. And right before I do that, let me bring up the Lionsgate really quickly because I want to show you something that occurred. So last week, we had a portion of this image. And it was the piece on the far left and the far right. And on the far right is the Lionsgate at the 8-8 pinnacle. It's when the Leo sun, the star Sirius, the stars in Orion's belt, and Earth all align. And there's that perfect line. Now you're going to see an image by Mahdi Sohaili in the middle. And here's the crescent new moon straight down being illuminated with the sun. And you see this same exact perfect alignment, this shaft of light. Well, remember that they said on that first show of August, which I believe was on the 2nd, and they talked about this time period from 8:1 to 8:30. And they said, we're aligning things. And I said to you, the unseen is showing me this perfect line, this just true north, perfect alignment. This image from Mahdi Sohaili was used in Pam Youngin's North Point Journal that I'm going to bring up now. And I'm like, what are the chances? I mean, it's just the tapestry, the synchronicity, the unseen showing us, because you can see the line from Sirius to the Orion's belt stars, perfect alignment with Earth. Now here's the new moon, perfect alignment. We're dead center of this time window, of this event. Here it is being demonstrated again. And then let me go back to sharing my screen here. And here is Pam Youngin's North Point Journal. This is where she used it for this week. And what she's saying is the Leo new moon, our second of 3 lunations this month, is a dramatic new moon that occurs this Wednesday, August 16th, today. The sun and moon will align at 2:37 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time on that day, when the two lights are at 23 degrees, 27 feet Leo. This, I think it's minutes, 27 minutes. This new moon and the lunar cycle that begins on Wednesday are likely to bring surprising twists and turns and many sudden changes that test our adaptability because they are square Uranus. The excitement is due to a tight square between the new moon and radical Uranus, at the same time that the sideways spinning planet is strongly activated by a trine, a harmonious aspect, to energizing Mars. It's also exact today. She goes on to say, so then she breaks down, and I'm just bringing this up so you'll see where I starred them. Yesterday on Tuesday, Sun square Uranus. Restlessness and a nervous energy are very strong with this aspect. We are already feeling the effects of tomorrow's dynamic new moon. This could be a good day to take some time alone, to get in touch with what is at the heart of our impatience. How can we better honor, this is so important, how can we better honor the new person we are becoming? We have talked about this. They have provided this on this entire journey with all of us, that we are becoming new. And so how better can we honor the new person we are becoming? Our new creative impulse is calling us forward. Is there a spark? Is there inspiration? Is there a knowing about letting go of something old and previous? Aspects of ourselves, people, places, things, whatever it may be, releasing it so that we better honor the new person we are becoming. Are small adjustments enough, or is a major change needed? And it's okay. Don't be afraid of minor changes or mega changes. Simply as the mantra, I choose to advance. I'll bring it up in a moment again. And then on Wednesday, today, the new moon perfects at 2:37. a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. Mars trine Uranus, harmonious aspect. We feel energized and willing to take inspired risks to step into unknown territory. One of my favorite sayings is, we may not be able to see down and around the corner. However, that does not mean that we don't know, that we don't have a knowing. It's a feeling, it's a knowing. It permeates our being, and it inspires us to take risks into unknown territory. So even though we can't see down and around the corner, it's not that we don't know. You'll know what to do. This is a very enterprising influence, assisting us in taking the lead. It supports activities that some might judge as strange or selfish. Mercury quincunx Chiron. We might second guess ourselves with this aspect, or be overly critical at our ideas or our ability to take the initiative. It's okay. So we might second guess ourselves, but don't become stuck in the second guessing. I choose to advance. Breakthrough. Here comes the sun. And think about that too, because again, the sun, S-U-N, S-O-N. Well, S-U-N, S-O-N. S-O-N relating to Master Jesus. Well, okay, 2,000 plus years people have been waiting. 2,000 plus years people have been speaking of. It is a massive piece of our Piscean era, patriarchal Piscean era. It is the best of the best. Why? Because it foreshadows the message. The whole Second Testament, and I'm not being religious in any way, I'm just using references to make the point, the message has been about love. The matriarchal Aquarian age, and the symbol for Aquarius in the sky is the water bearer. It is a male figure that has this jug of water, the living waters, soma, life, that is pouring out the waters. And yet it is associated as well with matriarchal rule. Matriarchal, harmony, love, equality, equanimity, balance, truth, purity, nourishment, good. And so we can see that here, foreshadowing at the very beginning of at the end really of Aries and the beginning of Pisces. Master Jesus arrives, and the story, this short time on earth story, has stayed with us for 2,000 plus years, because it's foreshadowing the arrival of this time, this breakthrough. And what was so funny is, so Here Comes the Sun. It's a song by the Beatles. It's from the 1960s. And we spoke about last week, I'm going to bring this image up really quickly, 1661, and the 6-6 that is in the middle, between these ones. The ones are gateways, the way to, a way through. They are pillars. And then what's within them, 6-6, enthusiasm, inner truth. Just hold on to that for a moment. Okay. So, and then here, the Beatles, and this song, Here Comes the Sun, the Beatles, they took off. Beatlemania, they took off during the 60s. And Beatlemania is like this euphoria, something that occurs. So here the Beatles come on the scene, and they just take over. There's a sensation that just takes over, in essence, countries, the world. Ultimately, it took over the world in the sense of this euphoria, this excitement, this wave of what they were offering. So there's a similarity here, a breakthrough, Here Comes the Sun. And the first thing that the unseen shared with us for this week is, take back your power. And then I heard have courage and be kind. So, and we're in Leo season. So remember the empowerment of Leo season, of this alignment. Take back your power. And then they were talking about your seat of power. Whole and sovereign beings. We are whole and sovereign beings. And it's not to be powerful or all powerful, to run roughshod over others. That's not the moral of the story. That's not the point. The point is to take back your power, meaning embody the seat of your soul, the empowerment of your soul source connection. And to do so to wield your empowerment, your power, your sovereignness with courage and kindness. Merge the two. Wield your empowerment with kindness. They're saying with glory, because they're talking about literally, they said Leo season, the Leo new moon, and here's this direct alignment. And coming into alignment with it, they're making this awareness for us that coming into alignment with it. The next thing they said was the Lion's Gate, age of Aquarius, and they said alignment, lining things up to bull strikes, and then total eclipse of the heart. And remember, we had that song, a few months back, Bonnie Tyler, Total Eclipse of the Heart. Well, coming up on October 14th is a solar eclipse, and on the 28th of October, a lunar eclipse. So they're making this aware that here we are, we're lining things up to bull strikes. Here comes the sun, it's a breakthrough. This total eclipse of the heart, these eclipses coming. And remember, Pluto is in its final retrograde in Capricorn before it officially moves for the next 20 plus years on January 24th into Aquarius. The last time Pluto was in Aquarius was the French and American Revolutions, founding of America, the Industrial Revolution, all of these things that advanced the new, that advanced liberation, breakthrough, freedom. That's what we're talking about here. So this is where this Lion's Gate, right now, it's lining us up to bull strikes. It's aligning us. It's bringing us into awareness with what's taking place. So, third thing, they said true north. Abandoned, no longer, no more. And then this whole thing about, and what I saw was they said North Star and the White Star Line. The White Star Line is the company that owned the Titanic and other ships. They were a transatlantic shipping company, passengers, freight, and so forth. The point here is true north. It's number 3. It's true north. And they're talking about the North Star, this White Star Line. Look at this image, this white star, the moon, the sun, this line, this alignment, Sirius and the belt of Orion, these alignments, this true north, this North Star, true north, abandoned, no longer, no more. And how? And then they gave me 3 words. I'm going to give you the definition of each one because it's fascinating. I loved this. So true north, abandoned, no longer, no more. And then I heard wayward, astray, castaway. Well, wayward, difficult to control or predict because of unusual or perverse behavior. Astray, away from the correct path or direction. Castaway, a person who has been shipwrecked and stranded in an isolated place. So they're saying to us, true north, abandoned, no longer, no more. Wayward, astray, castaway. All 3 of those, wayward, astray, castaway, speak to something that has gone off track, speaks to something that has been stranded, shipwrecked, stranded, isolated. This Here comes the sun, this rejoining, realigning, aligning to true north, the white star line, true north. It's fascinating, gives me goosebumps. The fourth thing, and what is this all, and by the way, they gave us some beautiful 2 quotes from source that we're going to invoke here. And let me just go to the first one. So it talks about, look for the good in all things, and you shall find it. So the point is it's easy to look at the negative. It's easy to stay on the surface. Look for the good in all things, and you shall find it. It's very powerful. It's a huge reminder for us to look for the good in things, to look below the surface, to step back, expand, so that we break through. Because if we don't, we will break down. We will stay on the surface. We will stay agitated. I often say, are you swimming in the cesspool? Are you in the cesspool? Well, that's a breakdown. But here, look for the good in all things, and you shall find it. You will find it. And thereby, that's a moral. It goes along with item number 4. Item number 4, I heard Job, so the book of Job, and I'm going to tie this all together because there's a moral to this entire story of the energies this week. But what I heard was Job, passion of the Christ, and then I heard trials and tribulations before redemption and deliverance. And then unshakable purity, faith, and goodness. So, the book of Job discusses, testifies to, you'll see how that word testify, to the fact that he is the one in the Bible, in the Christian Bible, that the adversary, Satan means adversary, tested, basically said to God, well, Job is only loyal to you and good and everything because you favor him. You protect him, you favor him. And God said, okay, well, I'll tell you what, I'll remove that quote unquote protection, that favor, and let's see. And what came about? Job goes from, the height of prosperity and protection and goodness and joy and abundance to losing everything, livestock, children, comes into illness and so forth. And the moral of that story is he never forsakes God. He continues to look inward to say, well, if this is God's will, what is it that I'm not seeing? What is it? He goes internally. He goes and looks within. And so in essence, he disproves the adversary's point. And because of that, he's rewarded double what he had before. So there's a moral in this entire energy, in this entire window of time from 8:1 to 8:30, these double supermoons, this alignment today, the Lion's Gate, here breakthrough, here comes the sun, is for us to look inward. It is for us, remember, Pluto is at the 29th degree. It's the anaretic degree, and it's known as the degree of faith. And so it is that 29th degree to say, faith, fear. Which one am I choosing? Faith, to reconnect to my seat of power, my sovereignty, the purity of my essence, my being, because I'm creating anew. This is what's happening. And so they're having 4, it's foundational. It's the moral of the entire story. Is my faith within myself, my soul source connection? Am I whole and complete? Am I sovereign? Am I divine? Are these things true? Do I have higher power, however you wish, Buddha, Allah, God, however you wish to identify with source? Do I have, and am I in alignment with that favor, that goodness, that empowerment, that embodiment? If I'm not, look in. Find my errantness, my errant way, my astray, my castaway, my waywardness. If I am, double, quadruple down. However, with courage and kindness. Not hubris, not arrogance, not entitlement, but with gratitude and grace and courage and kindness. Because it will, they're saying to me in the moment, it will be. It will just be. It is. It doesn't need to roar. You see this image in our mantra, the lion. The lion isn't roaring, and look how formidable. Look how unshakable. Look how empowering. Look how all-knowing. And yet also look, there's this sense of alertness. There's this sense of keen awareness. The spidey senses are tingling. But there's no yelling, screaming, roaring, running roughshod. And you can see look at the whiskers and everything, the wisdom. And then look at the golden light. This golden light, here comes the sun. With the mantra and the moral of, I choose to advance. I choose to move forward. I choose to reinforce my courage, my strength, my will, my goodness, because it's in alignment, because I know it's in alignment with soul source connection. Not ego, mind, personality, soul source connection. They're two different operating systems. The soul operates differently from ego, mind, personality. It's why, ego, mind, personality, it's why it's like, hey, I'm going to negotiate, I'm going to delay, I'm going to obstruct, I'm going to run roughshod, I'm going to beg, barter, and steal. That's the ego, mind, personality. That's masks, identities, labels, stories we tell ourselves. And and then you see the soul sitting over here like, oh, these humans are so cute. I love the ego, mind, personality. Look at that. Because the soul just sits in patience and resoluteness and curiosity and awe and wonder about the ego, mind, personality. Because it just is. It knows all. The ego, mind, personality thinks it knows. Thinks it's keeping us safe. And again, we've talked about this a lot. And I don't mean to be preachy. It's just to remember, we absolutely need a healthy ego, mind, personality in service to the soul source connection, where we're going to move it around. And patriarchal rule, it's been that the ego, mind, personality is at the forefront and the soul is somewhere, if it's at all in the equation, in our awareness. Well, now it's a complete reverse. It's a complete flipping of the script. Soul source, front and center, ego, mind, personality, in alignment to, in service to soul source connection. That's the importance of number 4, this faith. And then number 5 is about deliverance. And number 5 denotes change. And so deliverance, the action of being rescued or set free. Hexagram 40 is about deliverance. It's about liberation from difficulty or obstruction. And let me just go, before we jump into it, I'm going to go to the second quote from Source. It said, how can you live in what is right without uncovering what is wrong. So it's about repairing what's spoiled. It's about uncovering it. When I said, that breakdown is not an option, it's not that I'm ignoring breakdown. It's not that I don't value what may come from a breakdown. What comes from a breakdown when we choose it is breakthrough. However, so we can uncover, quote unquote, what may be wrong, what's not working, so that we live in what is right. It's because we've uncovered it. It's because we've looked at it and said, I understand that it's an option if I wish. I'm not ignoring the option. I'm not ignoring its existence. I can choose, though, to recognize it and say, got it, and choose to advance, choose to break through, choose to move forward. So there's a beauty of this quote. How can you live in what is right without uncovering what is wrong? It reminds me after when Master Jesus had risen and came back, and the apostles are saying to him, the 12 apostles are asking, where are we going? Where are we going? And he said to them, you ask where you're going without knowing where you've been. And so again, it's a very similar statement here. How can you live in what is right without uncovering what is wrong? And it's what we do with that. It's what we do with that matters. It's not to stay in the lesson. It is not to stay in the cesspool. It is not to stay in the decay of what is wrong. Pluto in Aquarius, Pluto in Capricorn is bringing to light everything that is wrong, hidden, spoiled, 2,000 plus years in patriarchal rule, energy, bringing to light so we can see it. How can we live in what's right if we don't know if we don't uncover what is wrong? We got to bring it up. We got to purify it. We got to cleanse it. And that's micro, macro. That's within our individual lives. So the moral of the story is be willing to look at every aspect of ourselves. Be willing to look at the shadow aspect of ourselves. Because within it is breakthrough, transformation. There is beauty. There is empowerment. There is power in looking at it. Be willing to do so. And that moves us forward. So let's move into, I'm going to put my specs on here. Bear with me. And we are going to look at hexagram 40. We've had this hexagram before, and then I'm going to jump into, welcome, Olivia, late but here. Yes, we love that. Never late, always on time. So liberation, deliverance, hexagram 40. Its action is to untangle. So remember this window of time, 8:1 to 8:30, we're right dead center at 8:16, this Leo new moon, the empowerment of Leo, the embodiment of that power, and this North Star, this white star line. Its hidden influences after completion, to renew. North Point Journal, Pam Youngins, we are making ourselves new. And its underlining cause is 37, family support. We are in this together. So this is from Cafe Au Sol, Carrie Hone, cafeausol.com. Thunder over the abysmal water shows a sudden storm meant to release tension. This type of natural phenomenon happens when the leaves need to be removed from the trees during autumn, and again, when the protective husks sheltering spring's rebirth are also removed. In either case, something is being loosened so that rebirth is delivered. It's liberated. Rebirth. Whatever is blocking your ability to move effortlessly and joyfully through the world of events will be no match for the situations that unfold to help you let go. Higher hand, higher octave. The arc of destiny moves forward. So, soul source connection, source, Ego, mind, personality is no match for that, for the original, for source. The hidden influence of after completion also underscores a need for renewal. See, we've been there, done that. We've completed the Piscean patriarchal era. We have received from it what we will. Now we are looking at the underbelly, the Pluto, bringing what has been hidden all this time, bringing it to light so that we know what's wrong, so we can remedy it, we can repair it, we can advance. Because what comes? Pluto in Aquarius, what comes? A whole new world. Well, a whole new country came, right? The founding of America came out of previous countries. And it created a new ideal. And then came the Industrial Revolution, created advancement, technologies, and so forth. What's happening again? The cycle is occurring again. However, this time, it's occurring in the Aquarian, the age of Aquarius, not the age of Pisces. So great advancement, great renewal. The underlying cause of family suggested a time of nurturing and protection. Defensive ideas, ego, mind, personality, this is a good one. Defensive ideas meant to protect anger or a lifestyle of hiding will be brought out into the open so that you can find deliverance from yourself. Because remember, these things that have occurred, that are happening on a world stage, that happen with our lives, so things that are hidden, wayward, astray, castaway, things that are not true north, they happened because of us. We did that. We, 8 billion people on the planet, somewhere within each of us, more, sometimes more than others, we went astray. We went off the correct and true path. We did these things. So it's about bringing deliverance from ourselves. So we see it's a reckoning. It's a reckoning with ourselves. So that when we advance, the only thing we take, and you're going to see 66, I'm going to tie this, the only thing we take forward is the good. Forgiveness is not something we offer others, but something which leads to our own freedom. The upper trigram of arousing hits like a bolt out of the blue to lead us from the abysmal danger. A bolt out of the blue. 8:30, a blue moon. It comes out of nowhere. It's out of the blue. Uranus, expect the unexpected, the shocking thunderbolt, this friction. Whatever is transpiring will bring renewal and calm to the inner landscape, inner being, soul source connection. It is important that you return to a place of calm and renewal. So wayward, astray, castaway. True north, we return to a place of calm and peace and renewal. Seat of power, seat of your soul. G releases tension and stress and is a time of letting go so that you don't drown in your own quagmire of negativity. This is about speaking to the whole of it. See, this is why it's being purified, because otherwise we just drown in the cesspool of this shadow, this decay, this waywardness. But instead, we're being brought back full center. In order to do that, how can you live in what is right without uncovering what is wrong? We have to uncover, we have to clarify, purify, cleanse, release. Micro, individual, macro, whole of the whole. Things cannot remain permanently obstructed. Therefore follows deliverance and the release of tension. The arousing thunder stirs over the abysmal water, presenting the idea of a sudden storm, which relieves atmospheric pressure. G is the sharp, G is the image of a sharp instrument which loosens knots. You can be worn and newly made when you release the unproductive energy that remains connected to anger. So this is that thing, that 29th degree, that anaretic degree, that degree of faith. You can be worn. We can be weary and tired and worn out, and yet newly made. There's always hope. There's always opportunity. There's always room for discovery. There is always the ability to advance. And thereby, we can be worn and newly made. Anger becomes a stone upon the measure of tomorrow. When you cannot let something go, you are forced to carry it with you. G is another principle of movement and stillness, where you can find deliverance in the liberation that comes from releasing your hold on the past. In the case of forgiveness, you give nothing away that you really needed anyway. So this is so beautiful because it's about the deliverance of humanity. It's about the deliverance of ourselves. It is about releasing the old. It is about releasing these old labels, identities, constructs, deeds. Own, atone, release. It's very simple. Own whatever it may be. Maybe it's a thought, an image. Maybe it's a wrongdoing from the past. Own up to it. Recognize, uncover the wrong. Recognize the wrong. Atone for it. Atoning can simply be sending forth your own forgiveness of self. Having a discussion with your soul source connection. And then release it. I choose to advance. It doesn't mean I've ignored it. It doesn't mean I'm hiding it and hoping nobody sees it. It simply means I own it, I atone for it, and I release it. And that allows me to move unencumbered. It restores my seat of power. And because I've done that, I do so with kindness and courage and grace. God, it's powerful. I love this. Okay. I hope you all are loving it. Place in the comments how this is resonating with all of you. Last but not least, I want to bring in, because they gave me 66, 77, and today we have double sevens. So the 1 and 6 becomes a 7, 2023 is a 7, so double 7, so 877. August is an 8. So we have double 7s. The whole thing becomes 22. 22, the most powerful master number. While you don't reduce master numbers, 2 and 2 is 4. 4, it's foundational. And so we have really powerful, empowering numbers, energy. 6, 6, 7, 7, and then 8, 8. And for me, I see 6, 6, 7, 7, and 8, 8 all the time. Well, they gave me the word resurrectionist. So let me move to that one first. And interestingly enough, the word resurrectionist, the first use, no surprise, was in 1777. So 17, follow, be led, soul source connection. 7, 7. 3 sevens. And it's resurrectionist, a person who brings something to life or view again, to be made new, to believe in the empowerment, the renewal of ourselves. We can be weary and yet made new. So we have that. Olivia saying letting go is most important. Holding onto it means it's still happening. Exactly. That's exactly it. When we hold on to stuff, it's festering. It hasn't left us. And to the degree that you are holding on, you are in the cesspool of it. And that can be anger, fear, resentment, hurt, whatever aspect it is, by holding on to it, it is still in your energy force. You are still in the lesson. You've yet to transcend it. You've yet to release it. And you've yet to see it's good. Look for the good in all things, and you shall find it. You will find it. So no matter what the circumstance is, step back and look through. Find what's good in it. And that requires us to be introspective. It requires us to go in because everyone's a character in our play. They're playing a divine role on soul to soul. They're playing a divine role. That's what this is talking about. And here, resurrectionist, a person who brings something to life or view again. A believer in renewal. Then we move to, here we go, number 66. And this is just fascinating. So, number 66. And I looked because oftentimes, again, from a historical, spiritual place, one of the greatest books, the Bible. So, okay, let's look and see. So number 66 derives part of its meaning from the millennium. Isaiah 66 describes this idyllic time and beyond when Master Jesus Christ will rule over the earth. Lasting peace will finally come upon Jerusalem, and the world's wealth will flow into her. Anyone who does evil upon the earth will be swiftly dealt with by the Lord, and the people shall see his glory. So they've been saying to us for quite some time, in the new, to do wrong will be so painful that you won't do it. You just won't. Because it's not an option. It's not that we don't know it exists. It's just not an option. It's like breakthrough, breakdown. It's not that we don't know that breakdown is present. It's just, do we choose to break through instead? This same thing. It goes on and talks about how, and contains, so here's this idyllic, Isaiah 66, something idyllic, talking about the new, that it happens during the millennia, this idyllic time and beyond. But it also speaks to, 66 also speaks to in the Bible, in 66 AD, what is known as the First Jewish-Roman War, or the Great Jewish Revolt, began. Violence first started in the city of Caesarea. Roman procurator Florus then further fanned the flames of revolt when he took money out of the temple treasury and feigned it was for the emperor. The war would ultimately lead to the destruction of Jerusalem and her magnificent temple in 70 AD. And Master Jesus prophesied about the leveling of both the city and the temple. So, 66. Both utopia, the ideal, this millennia period and beyond, and also, so breakthrough, breakdown. Idyllic, destruction. It contains, and what are we choosing? And it's interesting too because it's also associated, number 66 is associated with Judah's king Manasseh. This word Manasseh came to me, and then I finally connected it. Because when I first was looking, I was receiving it phonetically, and I was Googling and I couldn't find anything. And then when they brought the number 66 back to me again for us, it was like, and what it associates with is, so Judah's king Manasseh, who ruled from 696 to 642 BC, dies at the age of 66. He was the longest reigning sovereign over either Judah or Israel. He was also one of the most evil rulers over God's people. He zealously brought back pagan altars and so forth. The irony of this example is Isaiah was his maternal grandfather, and he ordered the execution of Isaiah. And so here, the prophet Isaiah is speaking to the idyllic millennium and beyond period, the good, and yet this number 66 is associated with his grandson, King Manasseh, who actually had him executed. So good, evil. This breakthrough, breakdown. These, they're saying the high and the lows, the light and the dark, and the moral of the story is to look in, because it is to balance and harmony, yin yang. We are talking about matriarchal rule, so we're talking about the harmony and the balance of the light and the shadow, the white and the black, the yin and the yang. It is about the harmony and the balance, the purity of them, not the eradication of one over the other. So ego, mind, personality, soul. It's not that one must die for the other to exist. It's not that that's what we should be doing, pursuing. What we want to pursue is the idyllic harmony and balance of them, operating in unity and oneness, so as to effectuate a far greater outcome, existence, a utopia. That is the moral of all of today's energies and this time period, and it is fascinating, and just looking to make sure I haven't left anything out, because I just want to go and bring this image back up, because again, these two quotes from Source. The first is, look for the good in all things and you shall find it. That includes you. That includes each of us. Look for the good in ourselves, in all things, and we will find it. Look for the good in others, and we will find it. Look for the good in the minutia, in the frictional aspect, the square, in the challenge, because we will find the good, the opportunity with the gift, the pearl. We'll find it. And again, lastly, how can you live in what is right without uncovering what is wrong? To look within, to see ourselves. And let me just end with this. It is the most empowering. To surrender is to be the most empowered, because you're surrendering to yourself. You're surrendering to your sovereignty, to the seat of your soul, to your soul source connection. Should anyone in those moments of surrender with yourself run roughshod, it will say everything about them and nothing about you. It demonstrates the depth of the light with them, meaning the distance from the light, and thereby how much further do they have to walk. However, that's their journey. Namaste, I bow to the divine in you, allow them that journey. It does not mean that you need to subject yourself to it. It does not mean that you need to accept that kind of behavior. It does not mean that you need to become that form of behavior. Simply demonstrate the value of your own empowerment, the sovereignness of your soul, and utilize that to break through, because here comes the sun. And there's something about this that's going to feel and be like Beatlemania, like it just takes the world by storm, comes out of the blue, comes out of nowhere. And it's to what degree we are aligned, because they are being very clear that they, the unseen, source, higher power, they are aligning things. True north, truth, embodiment, empowerment, strength. They're doing their part. Let us do ours. So until then, thank you all so much for joining us this week. I love you all. Thank you for participating. And let's see what we've got. Two more, the 23rd and the 30th. So let's see what happens in this window of time. And of course, right behind this window of time, right following it, are these two upcoming eclipses, total eclipse of the heart. So until then, we will see you next week. Until then, be well, be joyful, be happy, and be kind. All right. Love you all. See you next week.